The large meeting room of the Galactic Council was quiet. Too quiet. Every alien leader stared at the floating image in the center of the room. Their eyes were wide with shock and fear. Commander Jiwoo stood at the human platform. Her uniform was clean and pressed. Her face showed no emotion. Next to her, Captain Dae-hyun watched the alien representatives with careful eyes. He could see their fear growing. "This cannot be real," said Admiral Thalvor. He was from the Krenton race. His 3 eyes blinked rapidly as he stared at the image. "Check the data again. There must be an error." The image showed a massive ship. It was called the UESN Indomitable. The ship was huge, much bigger than any warship the aliens had ever built. But the size was not what scared them most. Jiwoo spoke clearly. Her voice cut through the noise in the room. "The data is correct. What you see is humanity's first warship. We built it in secret. Now we are showing it to you." The ship in the image turned slowly. The aliens could see every detail. The hull was made of materials they did not recognize. Strange patterns covered the surface. Energy readings came from the ship that broke all their measurement tools. "The power readings are impossible," whispered Ambassador Felnara. She was from the Yothian species. Her voice shook with fear. "Our best computers cannot measure this energy. It is beyond our understanding." Dae-hyun stepped forward. He was tall and confident. "Humanity has been watching the galaxy for 200 years. We saw your wars. We studied your technology. We learned from your mistakes. Then we made something better." The image zoomed in to show the ship's armor. Jiwoo explained what they were seeing. "This is collapsed matter weave. It can stop both energy weapons and physical projectiles. Our reactors use antimatter in ways you thought were impossible. We control quantum fields to stabilize the reaction." The aliens began to shout. Some were angry. Some were scared. All of them were confused. General Caxthor stood up. He was from the Vermilion Armada. He was large and covered in red scales. His fist hit the table hard. "This is a threat. You are declaring war on us." Jiwoo's face remained calm. "No, this is not a declaration of war. This is a message. We will not be weak. We will not be conquered. We have seen how this galaxy treats new species." She pressed a button. The image changed. Now it showed many ships, dozens of warships just like the Indomitable. They floated in space in perfect formation. "We watched what happened to the Yothians," Jiwoo continued. "They were almost destroyed before you accepted them into the council. We watched the Krenton conquer 14 different species before joining this group. We decided to take a different path." The room became very loud. Aliens shouted at each other. Some threatened war. Others demanded explanations. A few sat in silence, clearly afraid. "You all talked about giving us membership," Dae-hyun said loudly. "You debated for years whether we were worthy. Whether we were civilized enough. Whether we were strong enough. While you talked, we built." He pointed at the image of the fleet. "We built these ships over 50 years. In secret, in systems you never explored. We worked quietly while you discussed our fate." Admiral Thalvor was shaking now. His 3 eyes could not look away from the image. "How many ships do you have?" "Enough," Jiwoo answered. "Enough to make sure that if you ever decide to attack us, you will lose more than you can afford. Enough to make you think twice before threatening humanity." Ambassador Felnara spoke again. Her voice was softer now, less afraid and more thoughtful. "You built all this because you feared us." "We built this because we studied you," Dae-hyun replied. "Every species in this council has conquered others. Every species here has destroyed civilizations weaker than themselves. We saw the pattern. We chose not to be victims of that pattern." The image changed again. This time it showed technical details, power output numbers, weapon capabilities, shield strength. Every number was higher than anything the aliens had ever achieved. Some numbers were 10 times higher. Some were 100 times higher. "We are not your enemies," Jiwoo said, "but we are also not your prey. We come to this council as equals, not as junior members begging for acceptance, not as weak newcomers hoping for protection. We come as a power that can defend itself." A small alien named Rickstar spoke up. He was from a minor species that had barely survived joining the council. "If you have this power, why show it to us? Why not just keep it secret?" Jiwoo smiled for the first time. "Because secrets create fear. Fear creates conflict. We want you to know exactly what we have. We want you to understand that attacking humanity would be a mistake, not because we want to threaten you, but because we want peace. Peace through strength, Daehyun added. You understand that concept well. Every species here practices it. Now humanity practices it too. The council leader, an ancient being called Elder Morthos, finally spoke. He had been silent until now. His voice was old and tired. You have changed everything. The balance of power in this galaxy has shifted in one moment. Yes, Jiwoo agreed. It has. The question now is what happens next. Do we work together? Or do you try to destroy us before we grow stronger? The room went silent again. Every alien was thinking the same thing. Could they destroy humanity? Did they have enough ships? Enough weapons? Enough courage? Admiral Thalvor broke the silence. If we attacked you now with all our combined fleets, what would happen? Daehyun looked at him directly. You would lose. Many of your ships would be destroyed. Many of your people would die. And in the end, humanity would still be here, still strong, but now we would be angry. So we have no choice but to accept you, Caxthor said bitterly. You always had a choice, Jiwoo corrected him. You could have welcomed us peacefully years ago. You could have treated us as equals from the start. Instead, you made us prove our worth. So we did. We proved it in a way you cannot ignore. Elder Morthos raised his hand for silence. The council will need time to discuss this. We will adjourn for 3 days. Then we will vote on humanity's status. Take your time, Daehyun said. Our ships are not going anywhere. They will wait patiently while you decide. Just remember, the galaxy is watching how you treat us. Other species are watching too. Young civilizations that are not yet ready for space travel. They will see how this council responds to a strong newcomer. As the meeting ended, aliens filed out of the room in small groups. They whispered to each other in their various languages. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. Some looked thoughtful. Jiwoo and Daehyun stood alone on their platform. They watched the aliens leave. Do you think they will accept us? Jiwoo asked quietly. Daehyun nodded slowly. They have no choice. Fear is a powerful motivator. They feared we would be weak, so they considered conquering us. Now they fear we are strong, so they will accept us. Either way, fear makes their decision. Is that how we want to be accepted? Through fear? It is better than the alternative, Daehyun replied. Better to be feared and free than welcomed and enslaved. History teaches us that much. They left the council chamber together. Behind them, the image of the Indomitable still floated in the air. A reminder of humanity's power, a promise of humanity's determination, and a warning to anyone who might threaten them. The galaxy had trembled today. Tomorrow it would begin to adjust to a new reality, a reality where humanity was not weak, where humans were not victims, where Earth stood equal among the stars, and somewhere in the darkness of space 63 more ships waited silently. Ready to defend, ready to fight, ready to show the galaxy that humanity's age had begun. 3 weeks passed after the meeting. The Krenton leaders were angry and embarrassed. They decided to challenge the humans to a test. They wanted to see if these new warships were really as powerful as the humans claimed. Pride demanded they prove the humans wrong. Captain Hyun-soo sat in the command chair of the UESN Indomitable. The bridge was large and filled with screens showing information. His crew worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew what was coming. Lieutenant Yuna stood at the sensor station. She watched her screens carefully. The Krenton fleet is approaching. I count 12 heavy cruisers, 38 destroyers, and 4 of their biggest dreadnoughts. They are bringing their best ships. Hyun-soo nodded calmly. They want to test us properly. Good. We will show them what our technology can do. But we are not here to kill anyone. Set all weapons to demonstration mode. We prove our point without destroying their fleet. Yes, sir, Yuna replied. Her fingers moved across her console, adjusting weapon settings. The Krenton fleet appeared on the main screen. 54 ships in total. They formed a battle formation that had won hundreds of wars. It was an intimidating sight. The ships were covered in weapons. Their shields glowed with energy. Admiral Thalvor commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Crimson Blade. He had filed a report recommending peace with the humans. His superiors ignored his advice. Now he had to prove the humans were not as strong as they claimed. Deep inside, he hoped he was wrong. All ships attack formation Delta 7, Thalvor ordered. Prepare to fire on my command. The Krenton fleet moved forward. Weapons powered up. Energy crackled across their hulls. This was the moment they had trained for their entire lives. They are charging weapons, Yuna reported. All 54 ships are targeting us. Hold position, Hyun-soo said calmly. Do not move. Do not raise additional shields. Let them fire first. The crew trusted their captain completely. They did not question the order. They watched their screens and waited. Fire, Thalvor shouted. Thousands of weapons fired at once. Plasma bolts bright enough to light up space. Kinetic rounds moving at tremendous speed. Missiles with nuclear warheads. Everything the Krenton had they threw at the Indomitable. The humans did not even try to dodge. The ship sat perfectly still in space. The weapons struck the hull from every direction. Explosions covered the ship completely. Fire and energy surrounded the Indomitable until it disappeared from view. Direct hits on all weapon impacts, Yuna reported. Her voice was steady. Hull integrity at 100%. No damage to any system. The collapsed matter weave absorbed everything. On the crimson blade, Thalvor stared in disbelief. His weapons officer looked at him with 3 wide eyes. Sir, our sensors show 0 damage. The human ship has not even lost shield strength. It is as if we threw rocks at a mountain. Thalvor felt cold fear in his chest. Impossible. No ship can withstand that much firepower. Hyun-soo spoke calmly to his crew. Their turn is over. Now we show them what we can do. Railgun batteries online. Target every ship with a single round each. Non-critical hit locations only. Sequential demonstration pattern alpha. The Indomitable's weapon ports opened. What emerged was different from typical space weapons. These were railguns, weapons that used magnetic fields to throw small pieces of metal at incredible speeds. Each round was only as big as a human fist, but they moved at nearly the speed of light. Firing sequence initiated, the weapons officer reported. The railguns fired so fast it seemed like one continuous stream of light. 54 rounds launched in less than 3 seconds. Each round was aimed with perfect accuracy. Each one targeted a specific spot on a Krenton ship. The results were devastating. Shields that could stop plasma bolts and missiles simply failed when the railgun rounds hit them. The shields were not designed to stop something moving so fast with so much kinetic energy. The rounds punched through shields like they were not even there. Then they hit the armor. The Krenton had the best armor in the galaxy. It had been tested and improved over centuries of warfare. It could withstand incredible punishment. The railgun rounds went through it like paper. Clean holes appeared in the sides of ships. Systems were destroyed. Engines went offline. Weapons arrays exploded. Not a single Krenton ship was destroyed, but every single one was crippled and helpless. The entire engagement lasted 47 seconds from the first Krenton shot to the last human railgun round. Sir, Yuna said quietly, the Krenton fleet is sending an emergency signal. They are requesting we stop the exercise immediately. Hyun-soo nodded. Stand down all weapons. Open a communication channel to Admiral Thalvor. The screen showed the Krenton admiral. He looked like someone had struck him in the face. His pride was destroyed. His confidence was gone. He looked at Hyun-soo with an expression of pure shock. How? Thalvor asked. Just one word. It was all he could manage. Hyun-soo leaned forward in his chair. His expression was not cruel or mocking. He spoke like a teacher explaining something to a student. Admiral, you made a mistake that most of the galaxy made. You assumed that because you had refined your technology for centuries, it must be the best possible technology. You stopped questioning. You stopped experimenting. You stopped asking if there was a better way. He gestured to a screen showing technical data. Your weapons are powerful, very powerful, but they are inefficient. You waste 90% of the energy you generate. Your shields are strong and robust, but they are inflexible. They cannot adapt to different types of attacks. Thalvor listened carefully. He was a warrior, but he was also smart enough to learn from defeat. We started from nothing, Hyun-soo continued. We had no ancient technology to rely on, no traditions to follow, so we built everything based on pure physics and mathematics. We asked simple questions. What is the most efficient way to generate power? What is the most effective way to protect a ship? What type of weapon delivers the most energy to a target? He pointed to the tactical display showing both fleets. Your fleet represents 300 years of gradual refinement. Small improvements made over time. Our ship represents something different. We started with first principles and built up from there. We questioned every single assumption. Thalvor was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice heavy with resignation. The galaxy will not accept this change easily. There are many species with much pride, Much investment in their current military technology. They will not want to accept that they are obsolete. We know, Yunsu said gently. We expected this. That is why we built not just one ship but 64 of them. And I will tell you a secret, Admiral. The Indomitable class warships are not our most advanced technology. They are simply what we are willing to reveal right now. Thalvor closed his 3 eyes briefly. When he opened them again, there was resignation there, but also a hint of respect. What do you want from us? Surrender? Tribute? Submission? None of those things, Yunsu replied firmly. We want peace. We want trade. We want friendship. We want to be part of the galactic community as equals, not as conquerors and not as victims, just equals. You have the power to conquer us all, Thalvor said bitterly. Why do you not use it? Yunsu smiled slightly. Because conquest is temporary. Fear is temporary. Respect and cooperation last much longer. We learned from watching your history. We saw what happens to empires built on force. They always fall eventually. We want to build something that lasts. Thalvor looked at the human captain with a new understanding. You are either the wisest species we have met, or the most naive. Time will tell which. Perhaps we are both, Hyunsu admitted. Wise enough to build these ships. Naive enough to hope we will never need to use them at full power. Is your fleet capable of returning to base under their own power? Thalvor checked with his engineering teams. Yes, we have damage, but all ships can still travel. We will need repairs, but we will survive. Good. We will transmit repair specifications to you. Our collapsed matter weave technology for armor plating. It will help you repair your ships faster and make them stronger. Consider it a gift from humanity. Thalvor was stunned. You are giving us your technology? After we attacked you? This was a test, not a war, Hyunsu said. And we are about to give this technology to everyone in the galaxy anyway. Defensive technology, that is. The weapons we keep to ourselves. We want everyone to be able to defend themselves. But we want only humanity to have the power to truly threaten others. It creates a balance. The Krenton Admiral sat back in his chair. He looked tired and old. You have thought of everything, haven't you? We tried to, Yunsu replied. We had 50 years to plan this. We used that time well. As the communication ended, Yuna turned to her captain. Sir, we are receiving multiple requests for information from other species. News of this engagement is spreading fast. Let it spread, Yunsu said. The galaxy needs to know what happened here today. They need to understand that humanity is not weak, and they need to see that we are not cruel. We defended ourselves, but we did not kill anyone. That message is just as important as our display of power. The Indomitable remained in position as the damaged Krenton fleet slowly limped away. In the distance, other ships watched from beyond sensor range. Representatives from a dozen species had secretly observed the test. Now they were sending urgent messages back to their governments. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of galactic warfare, and they had done it in less than a minute of actual combat. In a secret location far from the main meeting halls, 5 of the galaxy's most powerful species held a secret meeting. The room was dark and hidden. No official records would show this meeting ever happened. They called themselves the Unity Pact, but there was no real unity between them. Only shared fear. On Earth, in a secure underground facility, Ambassador Junho watched everything. Human intelligence had been monitoring galactic communications for decades. They had broken the alien encryption codes years ago. Every word spoken in that secret meeting was being recorded and translated. Director Haewon stood next to Junho. She was the head of Earth's External Security Bureau. Her job was to keep humanity safe from threats both open and hidden. Right now she was watching the biggest threat humanity had ever faced come together. They are afraid, Haewon said quietly, and scared people with power are dangerous. On the screen, the 5 species argued about what to do. General Vormus of the Yothian military was the most aggressive. He slammed his appendage on the table repeatedly as he spoke. We must attack now immediately before the humans build more ships, Vormus declared. Right now they have 64 warships. We have thousands. Yes, their technology is superior. Yes, we will lose many ships, but we can overwhelm them with pure numbers. The Velthian representative tried to object, but their technology can be overcome. Vormus interrupted angrily. Numbers always win in the end. We will lose thousands of ships, tens of thousands perhaps, but humanity will be eliminated before they become truly unstoppable. Better to pay the price now than face an impossible enemy later. Junho watched carefully. He noticed something important. Admiral Thalvor is not there. The Krenton are not part of this conspiracy. After what they saw in the test battle, I am not surprised, Haewon replied. Thalvor filed a report recommending immediate peaceful relations with humanity. His government is actually listening to him. The meeting continued. The 5 species made their plans. They would gather their fleets in secret over the next 6 weeks. Then they would launch a coordinated attack on human space. They would tell the rest of the galaxy it was a peacekeeping action to contain human militarization. 2,000 warships, Haewon said, reading the intelligence report. They are planning to bring 2,000 ships to attack us. Junho was quiet for a moment. Then he made a decision. Activate the Infinity Project. I want it operational in 5 weeks. Haewon turned to look at him with wide eyes. Sir, that project. We have not even told our own people about it yet. The public does not know it exists. The public will learn about it soon enough, Junho said firmly. The galaxy is about to discover that the Indomitable class warships were just our introduction. They were never meant to be our ultimate defense. They were meant to make the galaxy underestimate what we are truly capable of. You planned this, Haewon said with understanding. You wanted them to attack us. I expected them to attack us, Junho corrected. Fear makes people predictable. We revealed the warships knowing some species would panic. We knew they would see our 64 ships as a threat they could still overcome with numbers. We counted on their arrogance. He pointed at the screen showing the alien conspirators. They are making the same mistake humans made many times in our own history. They are preparing to fight the last war. They are planning to defeat the weapons we showed them. They have no idea what we have been building while they make their plans. Over the next 5 weeks, humanity prepared. Not just the military, but the entire species. The secret could not be kept much longer. The Infinity Project was too large to hide. So the government decided to tell people the truth. President Minji addressed the people of Earth and all the human colonies. My fellow humans, we have kept a secret from you. A secret that was necessary for our survival, but a secret that must now be revealed. While we built the Indomitable class warships, we also built something else. Something that will ensure humanity's safety for generations to come. She showed images of the Infinity Station, a massive sphere 30 kilometers across. Its construction had taken 40 years and the work of millions of engineers and scientists. It floated in deep space, hidden by technology that made it invisible to all sensors. This is the Infinity Station. It is not just a defensive platform. It is a gateway to a new understanding of physics. It exists partially in our dimension and partially in 63 other dimensions simultaneously. It can project power across the entire galaxy instantly, and it is now fully operational. The news spread across human space in hours. People had many reactions. Some were proud. Some were frightened. Some wondered why their government had kept such a secret. But most understood the necessity. The Unity Pact was also preparing. They did not know about the Infinity Station. Their intelligence had completely missed it. They believed they were preparing to fight 64 warships, not something far more powerful. 2,000 warships gathered at the edge of human territory. Ships from 5 different species all working together for the first time. It was the largest military fleet ever assembled in galactic history. The commanders were confident. Even if every human ship fought perfectly, the numbers were overwhelming. Captain Sujin commanded the UESN Eternal, one of the newest Indomitable class warships. She received the activation codes for the Infinity Station directly from Earth Command. She smiled as she read them. All human ships, this is Eternal Actual, she broadcast on the secure channel. The Infinity Station is now online and fully powered. Take up defensive formation pattern Omega. We are about to teach the galaxy a lesson they will never forget. The 64 human warships moved into position. They formed a perfect geometric pattern around an empty point in space. To the Unity Pact fleet watching from a distance, it looked like the humans were preparing for a defensive battle. They seemed to be protecting something, but sensors showed nothing there. Fleet Commander Zalneth of the Yothian Collective looked at his tactical display with satisfaction. The humans had positioned themselves exactly where he wanted them. Surrounded, outnumbered, about to be crushed. All fleet units, prepare for hyperspace jump, he ordered. In 60 seconds, we enter human space and end this threat forever. For the glory of the Unity Pact and the safety of the galaxy. His officers prepared for the jump. 2,000 ships preparing to move as one. It was a beautiful display of coordination and military power. They were about to make history. What they did not know was that in the empty space at the center of the human formation, something was powering up. The Infinity Station was coming online. Its generators were drawing power from 64 different dimensional planes simultaneously. Energy readings climbed higher and higher, but the station's stealth technology kept it invisible. Commander Zalneth gave the final order. All ships, jump now. 2,000 warships disappeared from their staging area and reappeared in human territory. Their weapons were hot and ready. Their shields were at maximum power. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect attack formation, and then they saw it. The Infinity Station materialized before them. 30 kilometers of impossible technology. Its surface was covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change even as they watched. Energy readings poured off it that made their sensors scream in alarm. What is that? Zalneth whispered. His tactical computer tried to analyze the station and failed. The readings made no sense. The power levels were beyond anything his instruments could measure properly. Captain Sujin's voice came across all open communication channels. It reached every ship in the Unity-Pact fleet. Unity-Pact forces, this is Captain Sujin of the United Earth Space Navy. Before you do something you will deeply regret, let me explain what you are looking at. She transmitted a data packet to every enemy ship. Despite themselves, the fleet commanders opened it. What they saw made their blood run cold. For 50 years you believed we were building warships. We were. But at the same time we were building this. The Infinity Station. It is not a weapon, though it could easily be one. It is a gateway, a bridge between dimensions. The geometric patterns on the station began to glow with inner light. Space itself seemed to ripple around the station like water disturbed by wind. Humanity discovered something your species missed in all your centuries of scientific progress. Space is not just something to travel through. It is something that can be folded, manipulated, and rewritten. This station exists in 64 dimensions at the same time. The demonstration began. The station pulsed once, a wave of energy that was barely visible. Invisible beams of energy reached out and touched 20 ships in the Unity-Pact fleet. Nothing seemed to happen at first. Then the shields on those 20 ships simply vanished. They did not fail. They did not collapse. They ceased to exist. The station had rewritten reality at the quantum level to make those shields not be there anymore. We could destroy your entire fleet in approximately 4 minutes, Sujin continued. Her voice was calm but firm. Every ship, every crew member. We have run the simulations 800 times. The longest any simulation lasted was 4 minutes and 17 seconds. But we will not do this, because unlike some species, we do not believe in genocide as a solution to fear. Zalneth stared at his tactical display in horror. His computer was trying to run defensive scenarios. Every single simulation ended the same way. Total fleet destruction. The only variable was how long they survived. The longest survival time was 5 minutes. You are wondering if you should fight or run, Sujin said as if reading their minds. Let me help you with that decision. If you run, you leave with your lives and your ships. You return home embarrassed but alive. If you fight, you die. All of you. Choose wisely. The Unity-Pact fleet floated in space, completely frozen by what they were seeing. 2,000 warships that had come to destroy humanity now faced something they could not comprehend. The Infinity Station hung before them like an impossible dream made real. Fleet Commander Zalneth tried to think clearly through his panic. He had commanded fleets for 30 years. He had won battles against impossible odds. But this was different. His tactical computers were all showing the same message. No viable defensive strategy. No chance of victory. Only certain death if they fought. Sir, his sensor officer said quietly, I am detecting something strange. The station is tracking every single one of our ships. Not with normal targeting sensors. With something else. Something that exists in multiple dimensions. We cannot block it. We cannot hide from it. It knows exactly where every ship is at all times. Admiral Minseok appeared on the main communication screen. He wore the uniform of Earth's Supreme Military Commander. His expression was serious but not cruel. He looked like a teacher about to give an important lesson. Commander Zalneth, I know what you are thinking right now, Minseok said. You are wondering if there is any trick you can use. Any strategy that might work. Any way to salvage this situation. Let me save you time. There is not. Your fleet is already defeated. The only question is whether you accept that defeat or die proving it. Zalneth said nothing. He simply stared at the human admiral. His pride wanted him to fight. His survival instinct told him to run. His duty to his people demanded he make the right choice. I want to explain something to you, Min Seok continued. The galaxy has operated on one principle for 10,000 years. The strong dominate the weak. Powerful species conquer weaker ones until something stronger comes along. This cycle has destroyed countless civilizations. It has held back galactic progress for millennia. Today, humanity ends that cycle. He gestured to the station behind him. This station can project force anywhere in the galaxy instantly. It can defend any species from any threat. It can strike any aggressor no matter where they hide. And humanity controls it completely. Another human officer appeared next to Min Seok. It was Engineer Kyung Min, the lead scientist of the Infinity Project. She looked excited despite the tense situation. She loved explaining her work. Let me tell you what this station can do, Kyung Min said enthusiastically. It exists in 64 dimensions simultaneously. That means it can see and reach things in ways you cannot imagine. Your shields work by creating a barrier in normal space. Our weapons come from other dimensions where your shields do not exist. Your armor protects you from energy and kinetic impacts in this dimension. Our weapons strike from angles that make your armor irrelevant. She pulled up technical diagrams that meant nothing to the alien fleet commanders. We can rewrite matter at the quantum level. We can make things exist or not exist with equal ease. We can fold space to make distances meaningless. We can do things your physics says are impossible because we understand physics better than you do. Zalneth felt sick. His entire career, his entire life had been dedicated to military strategy and warfare. Now he was facing someone who had changed the fundamental rules of combat. It was like being a master swordsman and facing someone with a machine gun. What do you want from us? He finally asked. Unconditional surrender? Submission to human authority? Tribute and slaves? Min Seok shook his head firmly. None of those things. We want something much more radical. We want to change how the galaxy works, permanently. He pulled up a star map showing the entire galaxy. Humanity is going to share our defensive technology with every species in the galaxy. Not weapons, defenses. Shields based on our dimensional understanding. Armor using collapsed matter weave. Every species, regardless of how strong or weak they are, will be able to defend themselves. The implications hit Zalneth like a physical blow. A galaxy where military conquest was impossible. Where even the smallest species could defend their territory. Where power came from cooperation and trade instead of military might. You are destroying the old order, Zalneth said slowly. You are making military power meaningless. Not meaningless, Min Seok corrected. Just not dominant. Species will still need militaries for defense. But conquest will become impossible. You cannot conquer someone who can defend themselves as well as you can attack them. And if anyone tries, humanity will stop them. Captain Su Jin spoke up from her ship. We are establishing the Galactic Protection Initiative. Human warships will patrol major trade routes. We will respond to any species threatened by external aggression. We will be the galaxy's emergency response force. You are making yourselves the galaxy's police, General Vorma said bitterly. He had been silent until now, but his anger finally broke through. You claim you do not want to conquer, but you are establishing dominance over everyone. No, Captain Daehyun said. He appeared on screen wearing the new insignia of the Galactic Protection Initiative commander. We are making ourselves the galaxy's fire department. We respond to emergencies. We protect people who cannot protect themselves. We do not govern. We do not tax. We do not rule. We simply ensure the era of predatory empire is over. He activated a holographic display showing human ship positions across the galaxy. 64 Indomitable-class warships are already deployed. Each one can defeat any conventional fleet sent against it, but more importantly, the Infinity Station can support any of those ships instantly. Distance is no longer a protection for aggressors. A new voice joined the conversation. It was Ambassador Felnara of the Yothian Collective. She was not part of the Unity Pact fleet, but she had been monitoring the situation. My people were nearly destroyed by aggressive neighbors decades ago. We survived only because the Council finally intervened. If your technology and your protection can prevent that from happening to others, then perhaps this new order is something to support, rather than fear. Zalneth looked at his tactical display again. His pride warred with his reason. Finally, reason won. Unity Pact Fleet, this is Fleet Commander Zalnith. Stand down all weapons. Reduce shields to minimum power. We are returning to our territories. Relief spread through both fleets. No one wanted to die today. The human ships maintained their positions but did not pursue or threaten the retreating alien vessels. Commander Zalnith, Minseok said before the communication ended, you made the right choice. In 6 months, we will formally present our defensive technology package to the Galactic Council. We hope your species will accept it. We hope you will join us in building a better galaxy. Zalnith nodded slowly. You have given us much to think about. We came here to eliminate a threat. Instead, we found something we did not expect. Vision, purpose, a genuine desire to improve the galaxy rather than just dominate it. That is all we ask, Minseok replied. Think about it. Discuss it with your leaders. Then decide if you want to be part of the new era or cling to the old ways. As the Unity Pact fleet began jumping back to their home territories, Captain Sujin received a new message from Earth Command. Captain, we are detecting military buildups by 16 other species. They are all planning similar attacks to what just happened here. Sujin smiled. Then we have a busy week ahead of us. Transmit jump coordinates for the next fleet position. Let us visit each of these would-be attackers and explain the new reality to them, politely but firmly. Across the galaxy, species that had been planning to attack humanity began receiving unexpected visits from human warships. Each time the message was the same. The old era of conquest was over. The new era of protected peace had begun. Accept it or face the consequences. Most species chose to accept it. A few tried to fight. Those few learned very quickly that humanity's warnings were not empty threats. Their fleets were disabled with surgical precision. Their ships were left drifting but intact. Their crews were left alive but humbled. Word spread fast. Within days, every major civilization knew what had happened. Humanity had not just revealed powerful technology. They had revealed a complete plan for reorganizing galactic civilization. And they had the power to enforce that plan whether others liked it or not. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency sessions were called. Species that had ignored humanity for decades suddenly wanted to talk. Species that had considered humans weak prey now treated them with careful respect. Ambassador Junho stood before the council once again. This time, no one interrupted him. No one dismissed his words. They all listened carefully, knowing that behind him stood the power to reshape the galaxy. The choice is simple, Junho said. Work with us to build a better galaxy, or cling to the old ways and be left behind. We are not asking for your permission. We are informing you of what is going to happen. The defensive technology will be released to all species in 30 days. The Galactic Protection Initiative begins operations in 60 days. The era of empire is over. The era of equality has begun. Elder Morthus, the ancient council leader, spoke slowly. You have done in weeks what we could not do in millennia. You have made peace not through diplomacy, but through overwhelming power used with restraint. The galaxy will remember this moment for generations. We hope so, Junho replied. We hope the galaxy remembers that humanity chose protection over conquest, that we used our power to liberate rather than enslave, that we offered a better way forward instead of simply imposing our will. Deep in space, the Infinity Station continued to pulse with energy, a monument to human achievement, a guardian of galactic peace, and a warning to anyone who might threaten that peace. The galaxy had trembled in fear when humanity unveiled their warships. Now it trembled again, not with fear, but with the birth pains of a new age, an age where the strong protected the weak, where technology served peace instead of war, where humanity stood not as conquerors but as guardians. And in the darkness of space, Captain Hyunsu looked at the stars and smiled. They had done it. Against all odds, despite all fears, humanity had changed the galaxy, not through conquest but through vision. Not through domination, but through protection. The impossible had become real, and the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months had passed since the Unity Pact fleet retreated in defeat. The galaxy looked the same from the outside, but everything had changed underneath. The Galactic Council chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of species. Today was the day humanity would officially present their technology to the galaxy. Ambassador Junho stood at the human platform. He wore his formal diplomatic uniform. Next to him stood Engineer Kyungmin. She carried a data tablet that contained the specifications that would change galactic civilization forever. Both of them knew this moment would define the future for thousands of years. Honored representatives, thank you for gathering today. Junho began. His voice was calm and professional. Humanity has come before you with an offer. We will share our defensive technology with every species in this chamber, with every species in the galaxy. We ask for nothing in return except your willingness to enter a new era with us. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some species were excited. Some were suspicious. Some were still angry about the shift in galactic power. But everyone listened carefully. Ambassador Felnara of the Yothian Collective stood up. She had been a supporter of humanity's plan from the beginning, but she still had questions that others were thinking. Ambassador Junho, this is a generous offer, but what prevents you from using this technology as leverage? Today you give us defensive shields. Tomorrow you could threaten to revoke that technology unless we submit to human demands. It was a good question, a smart question, the kind of question that showed why Felnara had survived decades of galactic politics. Kyung-min stepped forward with a smile. She loved this moment. She had been waiting 6 months to say these words. That is an excellent concern, Ambassador. Which is exactly why we are not giving the technology to your governments. We are releasing it directly to the scientific community of every species. In approximately 2 minutes, the data will be transmitted to every public research network in the galaxy. Shock ran through the chamber like electricity. Several ambassadors stood up shouting. Some were excited, some were angry. All of them were stunned. You are just releasing it? To everyone? For free? Ambassador Kelthon of the Viridian Union could barely believe what he was hearing. The defensive specifications, yes, Junho confirmed. The shield technology, the armor materials, the structural engineering, everything you need to protect your ships and your planets. Any scientist on any world will be able to access the data and begin building these defenses. He paused to let that sink in. However, the offensive applications of our dimensional physics will remain a human secret. You will be able to defend yourselves from any threat, but you will not be able to threaten each other or us with these weapons. This creates a balance, safety without enabling aggression. Elder Morthas spoke from his position at the center of the council. His ancient voice carried wisdom and concern. This will completely upset the power structure of the galaxy. Species that relied on military might for influence will suddenly find themselves equal to those they once dominated. Smaller species will be able to resist larger ones. The entire framework of galactic civilization will shift. Yes, Junho agreed simply. That is exactly our intention. The current system is unjust. It rewards aggression and punishes weakness. It forces species to either become predators or become prey. We are offering a third option. Be neither predator nor prey. Simply exist and thrive. Admiral Thalvor attended the session as the Krenton military observer. He had become an unlikely voice of support for humanity after witnessing their power firsthand. He stood and addressed the chamber. I have seen human technology in combat. I have felt the power of their weapons and the strength of their defenses. When they say they could dominate the galaxy, they are not exaggerating. But instead of using that power to conquer, they choose to share it. We should accept this gift with gratitude, not suspicion. General Vormus, who had led the Unity Pact's failed attack, was no longer a general. He had been stripped of his rank and position, but he still attended as a civilian observer. He could not resist speaking. This is enforced peace. You are making yourselves the absolute authority in the galaxy. You claim not to rule, but you control who can attack and who cannot. That is still a form of dominance. Captain Daehyun entered the chamber at that moment. He now wore the formal uniform of the Galactic Protection Initiative commander. His entrance was perfectly timed. Former General Vormus, you are correct. We are enforcing peace, just as your species once enforced their version of order through conquest. The difference is our version of order protects everyone, not just the powerful. He activated a holographic display that showed the current deployment of human forces. 64 warships patrolling major trade routes. The Infinity Station monitoring for threats across all of galactic space. 3 additional stations under construction to ensure complete coverage. We are not governing. We are not taxing. We are not imposing laws. We are simply ensuring that the age of predatory warfare is over. A small ambassador from a minor species stood up. Her name was Linara, and her people had barely survived joining the galactic community 20 years ago. Larger species had tried to conquer them multiple times. Commander Daehyun, my people have lived in fear since we joined the council. We are too weak to defend ourselves from aggressive neighbors. If your technology can protect us, then we welcome it with open hearts. We do not care if it changes the power balance. For us, any change is better than continued vulnerability. Many smaller species in the chamber stood and applauded her words. For them, humanity's intervention was not a threat but a salvation. They had lived under the threat of conquest their entire existence. Now someone was offering them real protection. Kyung-min looked at her chronometer. The technology package is now being transmitted. Scientists across the galaxy are receiving the data at this moment. Within days, every species will begin understanding how to build these defenses. Within months, even the smallest civilization will be able to protect their home systems. She pulled up examples on the holographic display. The shields use dimensional folding to redirect attacks into other planes of existence. The armor uses collapsed matter that is denser and stronger than anything currently available. The reactor designs are more efficient than traditional antimatter systems. Everything is explained in detail with complete specifications. Ambassador Junho spoke again. Now I will address the concern that everyone is thinking but not saying. What happens if a species uses this defensive technology to develop offensive weapons? What if someone figures out how to weaponize dimensional physics? The chamber went silent. Everyone had been wondering exactly that. We have considered this possibility very carefully, Junho continued. The defensive technology we are sharing is complex but ultimately achievable with your current understanding of physics. The offensive applications require an understanding of quantum dimensional mechanics that would take your species centuries to develop independently. By then, the galaxy will be so different that the old patterns of conquest will be culturally irrelevant. Daehyun added, and if someone does manage to develop dimensional weapons before we expect, they will find that humanity is still several generations ahead. We are not sharing our best technology. We are sharing technology that will make you safe but not make you our equals in combat capability. That balance is intentional. A transmission came through from Captain Soo-jin, who was on patrol near the galactic core. Her image appeared on the main screen. Honored Council, I am reporting a situation that demonstrates why the Galactic Protection Initiative is necessary. The Jaltor Collective has launched an invasion fleet against the Pren colonies. 400 ships attacking a civilization that can barely defend itself. We are moving to intercept. Everyone in the chamber could see the tactical display. The Jaltor fleet was overwhelming the Pren defenses. Within hours, the Pren would be conquered and their population enslaved. It was a story that had played out thousands of times in galactic history. Watch what happens now, Daehyun said quietly. The UESN Eternal and 2 other human warships jumped into the combat zone. They positioned themselves between the Jaltor fleet and the Pren colonies. Captain Soo-jin broadcast on all channels. Jaltor fleet, this is the Galactic Protection Initiative. You are engaging in aggressive warfare against a weaker civilization. You have 3 minutes to withdraw or we will disable your fleet. This is your only warning. The Jaltor commander, overconfident in his numbers, ordered his fleet to attack the human ships. It was a mistake he would regret for the rest of his life. The 3 human warships engaged 400 Jaltor vessels. The battle lasted 6 minutes. Every Jaltor ship was disabled but not destroyed. Their engines were offline. Their weapons were destroyed. Their shields were down. But their life support systems remained functional. Every crew member survived. The Pren colonists watched in amazement as their certain doom was prevented by 3 ships that moved like impossible dreams through space. Ships that rewrote the rules of combat with every action. The Jaltor fleet has been neutralized, Soo-jin reported. Pren colonies are secure. We are transmitting the new defensive specifications to the Pren government now. With these technologies, they will be able to defend themselves from future attacks. Our work here is done. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in discussion. Some representatives cheered. Some looked worried. Some began calculating how this would affect their own political situations. But everyone understood that what they had just witnessed was the new normal. Aggression would be met with overwhelming response. The weak would be protected. The era of easy conquest was over. Elder Morthus raised his hand for silence. When the chamber quieted, he spoke with the weight of his many centuries. Humanity has accomplished something remarkable. They have changed the fundamental nature of galactic civilization, not through diplomacy or slow cultural evolution, but through raw technological superiority combined with moral restraint. This combination is rare in galactic history, perhaps unique. He looked directly at Junho. The Council will need to vote on officially accepting humanity's role as galactic protectors. but I suspect the vote will be overwhelmingly positive. You have proven your intentions through actions, not just words. Junho bowed respectfully. We ask only that you give this new system a chance. Let us prove that peace can be maintained through protection, rather than through balance of terror. Let us show that technology can serve cooperation rather than conquest. Over the following weeks and months, the galaxy transformed. Species began building the new defenses as fast as they could manufacture them. Trade routes became safer as human warships patrolled them. Aggressive civilizations found their expansion plans suddenly impossible. Weaker civilizations found themselves able to resist threats they could never have survived before. Not everyone was happy with the changes. Some species mourned the loss of their military dominance. Some resented human authority, even though it was exercised with restraint. Some simply did not like change. But slowly, gradually, the galaxy accepted the new reality, because the alternative was returning to endless cycles of war and conquest. And most species, when given the choice between peace and violence, chose peace. Captain Hyunsu sat on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the stars. His ship was patrolling near human space, ready to respond to any threat anywhere in the galaxy. Next to him, Lieutenant Yuna monitored sensor data from the Infinity Station. It is strange, Yuna said quietly. We built these ships expecting to fight for our survival. Instead, we are using them to protect others. Hyunsu smiled. That is the best possible outcome. We built weapons of war and turned them into tools of peace. We became strong so we would not be victims. But we are using that strength to ensure others do not become victims either. That is something to be proud of. Across the galaxy, humanity stood watch, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as guardians. They had unveiled impossible warships and the galaxy had trembled. But that fear had transformed into hope. Hope for a better future, hope for lasting peace, hope that perhaps finally the galaxy could evolve beyond violence. And in the darkness of space, the Infinity Station pulsed with quiet power. Promise and a warning, a symbol of what humanity had achieved and what they were willing to do to protect it. The galaxy had entered a new age, and humanity would ensure that age lasted for generations to come,